All right, section 3.1 is all about relationships of lines. So we're going to talk about some parallel, perpendicular lines, and skew lines. So parallel lines are two lines that lie in the same plane and do not intersect. So for example, we have plane M here, and we have line R and S, and they're parallel because they're never going to intersect or they're never going to touch each other. And the way that we indicate that they're parallel is by using these little triangles, or more often you'll see them look like arrows. And that's how we show in a picture that two lines are parallel. So they're never going to intersect. And the way that we write this notation is by saying R is parallel to S. Sometimes you might see it written like this, but either way there's two lines that look like they're parallel, and that's how we denote two parallel lines. Then we have perpendicular lines, which are two lines that intersect to form a right angle. So you can see right here, we have the right angle. A right angle is 90 degrees, and it's indicated in the picture by a box. So the way that we denote this is by saying S is perpendicular to T. It's like a big capital upside down T. So S is, sorry, did I say parallel? S is perpendicular to T, and you can kind of think of it like that. It's perpendicular. So big capital T that's upside down. So determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we have line N and line M, which have these arrows on them. So that means that N is parallel to line M. They're never going to intersect each other. Then we have line P and line Q, which they intersect, but so we know they're not parallel since they intersect, but there's no 90-degree angle marked there. So line P and line Q are neither. They're not parallel or perpendicular. And then last we have line N and line P, which intersect right here. And you can see that they intersect to form a 90-degree angle, which means that N is perpendicular to P. Skew lines are two lines that do not lie in the same plane and they never intersect. So you can see line B here is in plane A, but line C is not in plane A. It only goes through plane A at this point, but it's not in plane A. So therefore, since line C and line B are not in the same plane and never intersect, they are called skew lines. So let's look at line F and line H. They intersect at this point. So since they intersect, they are not skew. Okay, and then if we look at line, so now in B, we want to look at line F and G. So there's F and G. Now, at first, it looks like they intersect, but they don't because G is actually behind line F. So these are skew lines, and your reason is because they do not intersect and they are not in the same plane. Again, it appears that they intersect, but you have to visualize this. F is actually intersecting with H, and G is behind line H, so they don't actually intersect. So name a pair of parallel lines. Here we have line X and we have line Y, and these are marked parallel by the triangles, so we can say that X is parallel to Y. Name a pair of perpendicular lines. So we can see this 90-degree angle marked here, which means that line Z and line X are perpendicular. So we can say Z is perpendicular to X. They form that 90-degree angle there. It has to be marked. If it's not marked as 90 degrees, then we cannot assume that it's 90 degrees. So it has to have that box. Name a pair of skew lines. So X and Z intersect, therefore we know they're not skew. But Y is out front here, and then Z is going up and down here, And so Z and Y are skew. So two planes are parallel planes if they do not intersect. So they are never going to touch each other. So those are parallel planes. Then we have perpendicular. A line that is perpendicular to a plane is a line that intersects a plane at one point and is perpendicular to every line on the plane. So line S and line T are in plane A, so you have to picture them all together, right? Since S and T are in plane A, just picture it as one entity. And then we have line R, and line R is going to be perpendicular to everything if it is perpendicular to the plane. So you can see that line R is perpendicular to line S and perpendicular to line T. Therefore, since line S and T are in plane A, we can conclude that line R is perpendicular to plane A. So name a plane that appears parallel to plane B. Well, plane B is up here, and then plane C is parallel because they are never going to intersect. One is on top of the other. Name a line that appears perpendicular to plane B. So we want to name a line. So if you look at the green plane B, you can see here that this 90-degree angle is marked. And so the line that is perpendicular to plane B is line L, because it's marked with that 90-degree angle. And line L is perpendicular to line M, which is in plane B. So line M is part of plane B, therefore line L is perpendicular to plane B. And that's it.